Do you think if Longstaff's fit, do you think he'll put him back in?
If he's properly fit,
I think if he's fit, he will. Yes, I think he'll play.
Yeah.
But I've got my doubts whether he will.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Like, will be fit.
I'm not sure he will be fit from what
Eddie Howe. What Eddie Howe means by fit, though, is can you run 15 kilometres in 80 minutes?
Yeah,
that kind of fit.
The thing is with Sean Longstaff, he's like they call him, the running man, don't they? And I think he'll have a certain level of fitness there anyway. So I think if he can play, he will play him. I just doubt he will actually be fit enough to play. So in which case, it then leaves us with that issue of what do we do? Because I think Longstaff will come back in. And if Longstaff comes back in, I'm not sure he'll start with Isak and Wilson. Yeah,
well, that's the other big question, isn't it?
He won't.
Does he start both Isak and Wilson after the Southampton second half? The more I've thought about this week, the less, even if Longstaff isn't available, I'm more convinced he won't do this against Arsenal, because I think for a couple of reasons, and people have pointed this out to me after I made a video on it earlier in the week. One of the reasons that Wilson is doing so well is because Howe is managing him perfectly. We know that Wilson's a bit like made of glass, and Howe is managing his fitness superbly.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing that someone pointed out to me, if we start with both, then what is the coming off the bench? It kind of leaves us open to kind of not having that much of a surprise or a big sort of player who can change the game in a big way.
Yeah, I think I agree with that thought, Shane. I listened to, like I said, Eddie Howe's conference today, and he was talking about the thing is we've got two really top class strikers, and he was saying about what he's saying. I'm managing them, and if we're playing 3 games in a week, I'm not going to play them for those 3 games. So we're getting the best out of 2 great players by actually not giving them all 3 full games to play. And I think that's working. And it's also this spurring each other on, because they feel they should be in the team, but they're not. And then they come on and change games. And both have done that from the bench, haven't they? So I tend to agree. I don't think he will start with 2, because the thing with Eddie Howe is he's a little bit of a creature of habit at times as well, isn't he? And I think he has his team set up in a certain way. Well, the interesting thing was, if Longstaff doesn't play, who will he play up front? I mean, it'll be either obviously Isak and Wilson, and I kind of call it which one he'll start with, because he'll second guess anybody. But who else would you have?
He'll play Miggy and Murphy,
possibly. Okay. I don't think he'll play Murphy and Miggy.
No, that's what I'm saying, because they're both.
It'll be one or the other, right? It'll be one or the other, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, same side of the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be like.
It'd be one of the. It'd be Murphy and Joelinton then probably. So I'm getting my formation mixed up. But he won't change the formation. That's the point.
No.
He's got a system.
Yeah.
And he'll freshen it up by bringing someone on. But I can see him starting with Isak.
Yeah, I think he'll start Isak. I don't see how. It sounds mad because Wilson scored all the goals like in April, but I just don't see how you don't play Isak against Arsenal. Like, I just think what he contributes is just insane.
And then you've got that thing in your tool belt where you can switch him to the left and then give their right back a hard time for part of the game when you bring on Wilson, who's a very different proposition. You'll probably put. I think the third thing is I think Joelinton, will go forward, which is a shame because I like Joelinton in midfield, but he's solid at least, isn't he?
The thing is, though, with that, Andrew, I think Joelinton actually with him and Willock were the interchange.
Yeah, they can.
So they're both, and that Joelinton, when he's played down the left, has actually been quite instrumental in some of the goals we've scored.
He's been absolutely brilliant.
I just think it'll be sad. So who would you play midfield for that? So you would have
Willock and Bruno,
Willock, Joelinton,
maybe.
And then,
I mean, you've got Maxi as well, who's possibly, but I don't see him starting.
He'd be on the bench.
Been out for so long. I mean, it's not beyond the realms. He plays Miggy and Murphy, I suppose, in that situation. If he doesn't want to start with Wilson and Isak, and Longstaff's not available, there is a chance that happens.
Yeah.
And Miggy goes on the other side because actually he's been quite effective at times.
There's a group of them know the job of wherever they're supposed to be on the pitch. So yeah, they might set up in a certain way, but they do obviously you move around in a game, and so there are times where they do know how to go. We miss Longstaff's running, and that's the thing, isn't it?
It's the covering and the thing, and against Arsenal, you know, that can be
get overrun.
Mark sort of makes a point here about Max. If Maxi's available, it might let Howe start Wilson and Isak, and then bring Maxi on. We've also got Gordon from the bench at that point. So I suppose there are still some options, but I don't know. Maybe even Miggy might be on the bench depending on the team he picks. So I guess there are still potential options on the bench, but I guess we'll just have to see. I'm not going to ask you for a score prediction or anything like that, but how do you feel? I mean, if you want to put one in the box, if you're watching, feel free. But how are you feeling about the game? Do you think it'll go in our favour? What do you reckon, Andrew?
I hope it does. I don't know. I'm always realistic. I try to be realistic here. I think they're a very, very good team. And, you know, there's a lot. I mean, we can always try and think about the psychology of these things. You know, like, are they wounded? Are they deflating? I mean, was it Chelsea they beat the other night, which you know wasn't hard, obviously. So that could be a red herring. I fancy us not to lose. I think you know I could see us winning it, but I would say it's either 1-1, 2-1, maybe. But if we lost the game, you know what I mean? I'm sitting on the fence. I can see it. You know what I mean? But
well, you've gone for all three results there, Andrew.
Yeah, I can. No, but I can see. I don't see us doing what we did to Spurs. I don't see us going all out and smashing them 4-0 or something daft like that.
No.
Oh, Blakey reckons it might be 4-0.
I mean, I hope so. I hope so. I think it'll be one goal in it.
I'm predicting 2-1. That will beat them.
Oof. Look at you predicting a score, Dad. What's that all about?
I'll be putting in the Super 6, I'll tell you.
I'll say 1-1.
I feel like I need to say a score now.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Look, I think
we'll edge it.
as long as we don't lose.
I think it might be 1-0.